In Pierre Berton's The Great Depression, the author delves into the first-hand accounts of individuals who lived through this tumultuous period, combined with historical records, to explore the profound impact of the Great Depression on Canadian society. From the momentous stock market crash of 1929 to the outbreak of World War II in 1939, Berton investigates how the lives of Canadian citizens were disrupted and how the nation's culture was shaped. The book thoroughly examines the responses and actions of various key players, including businesses, law enforcement, and politicians, shedding light on their role in this critical period. One of the primary focuses is the government's approach to addressing unemployment, its initiatives to fund work programs, and the hardships faced by middle-class workers who were thrust into poverty. The already dire conditions were exacerbated by droughts and a locust epidemic, worsening the plight of many Canadians. Consequently, the era became known as the Dirty 30s in Canada, with a significant portion of the workforce reliant on some form of assistance, while many others remained in dire need. Berton highlights the transformation of Canada as a nation following this decade of economic depression. He vividly portrays the riots that erupted on the streets, leading to the incarceration of numerous individuals. Moreover, he emphasizes the mass migration of approximately 70,000 men who were compelled to lead a nomadic existence. Throughout the book, Berton supports the argument that political leaders of the time failed to take the necessary measures to assist people in coping with widespread unemployment and the resulting despondency. Drawing attention to Prime Minister Mackenzie King's controversial stances, including his support for Hitler and Mussolini and his opposition to Winston Churchill, Berton underscores the apathy and ineffectiveness exhibited by the government. He also cites Maurice Duplessis, the Premier of Quebec, who ordered the seizure of private citizens' homes based on their political beliefs, as an exemplification of the government's shortcomings. Overall, Berton's The Great Depression provides a comprehensive examination of this transformative era in Canadian history, shedding light on the experiences of its citizens and critiquing the actions of the political leadership during this challenging time. According to Berton, Canadian politicians failed to comprehend the profound suffering and hardships endured by their citizens during the Great Depression. Instead of addressing these issues head-on, they focused on shifting the financial burden of providing relief between different government sectors and, in some cases, even sought ways to evade providing assistance altogether. The book also examines the role of communism during this period, suggesting that communists manipulated the unemployed masses to further their own political agenda. However, Berton acknowledges that other political parties engaged in similar tactics. When Mackenzie King was defeated, he reportedly saw the high unemployment rate as advantageous for his Liberal followers. Conservative Prime Minister R.B. Bennett is portrayed as a wealthy individual who believed that the government should not bear the responsibility of caring for the hungry population. In contrast, the formation of Canada's Cooperative Commonwealth Federation in 1932, led by J.S. Wordsworth, aimed to provide economic reform and aid to those affected by the Depression. Wordsworth is characterized as an idealistic figure who, despite his noble intentions, failed to fully recognize the imminent danger posed by the Nazis and the inevitability of war. Berton draws comparisons between Canada's response to the Depression and that of the United States, highlighting the significant shortcomings of Canada's approach. He presents Franklin Roosevelt, the American president, as a visionary leader who actively pursued reform, while Canada's federal government consistently hindered any attempts at meaningful change. Some regional leaders in Quebec, Ontario, and Alberta are implicated as demonstrating fascist tendencies. Furthermore, the Communist Party was temporarily banned during the 1930s, and anti-Semitism emerged in Canada. Law enforcement authorities in Toronto are said to have supported and protected fascist demonstrations while suppressing left-wing protests with force. In summary, Berton's account underscores the lack of understanding and empathy displayed by Canadian politicians towards the suffering of their citizens during the Great Depression. He explores the political maneuvering, ideological conflicts, and instances of fascism and anti-Semitism that shaped the nation's response to this tumultuous era. Berton also delves into the legislative measures enacted to suppress dissent during the Great Depression. One such law was Section 98, which outlawed unlawful assemblies and granted extensive powers to law enforcement agencies. These powers were frequently exercised and often went unchecked. Similarly, Quebec's padlock law empowered the police to seize communist literature, but it was exploited to confiscate materials that were not technically covered by the law. The government disregarded citizens' rights and freedoms, according to its own discretion. Section 98 remained in effect for over a decade and operated on the presumption of guilt for individuals with even the slightest affiliation with an organization accused of being illegal. The penalty for such association was a 20-year prison sentence unless the individual could prove their innocence. Furthermore, those who provided meeting spaces for illegal groups faced hefty fines of $5,000, while individuals involved in the printing or importation of literature advocating violent political change could be imprisoned for 2 decades. Pierre Berton's The Great Depression presents a vivid depiction of Canada's response to the challenges posed by this era. The book reveals a nation grappling with a lack of political and moral identity. Berton raises critical questions about how the fundamental deprivations resulting from the economic crash, such as scarcity of clothing and food, were addressed by Canada's national and provincial governments. He suggests that the failure of political leadership exacerbated the hardships endured by Canadian citizens during this trying period. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.